Hello and welcome to Papa Hector's Spiritual Podcast. I hope that you're doing awesome today and having a great week. So today's episode is called 4 Lies About Positive Thinking. You can't do it by thoughts alone. So first and foremost, as always, let me remind you to subscribe to this podcast, which you can do so at iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Stitcher, or Spotify. And simply look me up, Papa Hector Salva. Also, you can subscribe to YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook by looking me up at HOUNGAN HECTOR, Hungan Hector. And of course, check us out on the blog at hectorsalva.com. So, diving into today's topic, 4 lies about positive thinking. You can't do it by thoughts alone. First and foremost, before I go into this topic, I want to state that positive thinking is an important component of progress, and it is a piece of what goes into the mix in order for good things to come your way, and it is important to a certain extent. But this podcast isn't about the positives of positive thinkings. This podcast is about the negatives and the lies that you've been told or taught. Many of you may have tried to positive think yourself out of situations, into better conditions, into a better life, into other situations in life, undo problems with your positive thoughts, etc., etc. And you may have noticed that if you did do so for some time, there may have been some areas in which you succeeded and many areas in which positive thinking has failed. And a lot of people tout a lot of power to positive thinking, okay? But the truth is, the positive thinking part of any aspect of change is really but a small piece or part. Okay, so getting into today's thoughts and today's truths. So, first lie about positive thinking is that you can achieve everything through positive thinking. The truth is, you can't achieve everything through positive thinking. A lot of people want to believe that they can achieve everything through positive thinking. But again, as I said before, if you actually have tried to positive think yourself out of situations, problems, scenarios, life, into positive situation scenarios, life, you may have noticed that all cannot be achieved by positive thinking. The market today in spirituality and holistic healing, as well as many of these other new age things, as well as other work, has turned into the world is all your mind and you can do everything through positive thinking. But the truth is that that's not true. It's BS. The truth is that many of these individuals, okay, are not succeeding and have continued to not succeed and continue to tout the truth that supposedly positive thinking, everything can be achieved. I've met a lot of negative, quote unquote, positive people. I've met a lot of angry, aggressive, negative, quote unquote, positive thinkers and individuals who may mask as though they're positive, but actually are not. And you may have met some or many of these individuals too. So the truth is that everything cannot be achieved through positive thinking. It takes a lot more than positive thinking, okay, to resolve many of life's situations. This is basically trying to cook a cake with just sugar. You're not going to come out with a cake. Trying to cook a cake with just sugar, you're going to find that when you pull that out the oven, all you're going to end up with is melted or burnt sugar. So everything can't be achieved through positive thinking, although this is the thought followed by many supposed healers, supposed coaches, supposed spirit workers, light workers, whatever you want to, what call you, therapists, psychologists, so on and so on and so forth. Okay? Lie number 2. Okay? Lie number 2 is everything is created by thoughts alone. The lie is that everything is created solely by thought. We all know that this is not true. Okay? There are a lot of instances where we can see in life that things are or are not created, although there have been thoughts behind them. People are going to argue, well, maybe you didn't think strongly enough, think for long enough, this and this and this and that. But again, this is a situation where we're trying to minimize. We're trying to make it seem that a drop of water is the entire ocean. A drop of water is not the entire ocean, although it contains the entire ocean within it. A drop of water is not the entire ocean, although it contains the entire ocean within it. This has led to much suffering and pain and problems. This belief that everything is created solely by thoughts. Everything is not created solely by thoughts. Unfortunately, in this day and age, many spiritual teachings spiritual teachings have been what we call whitewashed or washed down in order to make them more swallowable or digestible by people who are not completely actually on the spiritual path. Many spiritual concepts, teachings, and practices have removed the spirit of them. The true spirit and the true energy, the true force through which those techniques, methods, rituals, so on and so forth are effective. Many spiritual techniques and things, have been taken out of context, removed from context, and changed in order for certain audiences to be able to digest them more easily and to incorporate them. However, in certain instances, this reduces and removes the power of that teaching. And either way, people come out no better than they were before. In fact, some of these lies that are told to you about positive thinking and some of these lies that you've been taught to believe can actually turn around and be harmful and detrimental to your growth and your progress. They can actually break down certain positive things that you already have going for you. So, moving right along to number 3. Lie number 3 is that you are in total control of your mind and therefore your thoughts. Again, here we see that When you remove spiritual teachings from the spiritual context in which they come from, when you remove and you wash away the important details, when you change things and you don't know why they are the way that they are, people suffer. Okay? Because the truth is, you are not in total control of your mind or therefore your thoughts. But this is a spiritual teaching that, again, is very beautiful and like a flower, beautifully complex and yet simple. But this is a teaching that has been washed away. And there are certain works, healings, and rituals that are done in context of all these lies that have already been told to you that change things. You can't remove things willy-nilly without knowing why they're there, without truly knowing the truth. Here is the problem of many quote-unquote spiritual teachers, mentors, so on and so forth, is that you can't really teach what you don't really know. If you don't go deep enough into certain sources and roots of teachings, you won't really know, although you may believe you know. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of people think that they know, and as my grandmother would say, what makes them idiots is that they think that they know. So therefore they can't learn. They think they know, and they're so convinced that they know that they can't really know. And they can't even see how little it is that they actually know. There's certain changes, certain behaviors, certain ways of being that are not possible for you if you're making certain spiritual progresses, certain positive things that make certain negative things not possible. Certain ways for you to be and live through life and be at peace, health, joy, okay? Certain other things are just not possible if you're really there. If you've really truly absorbed and been given, been handed through the grace, okay, of God and your teacher, through the grace, handed these knowledges. And these knowledges have become wisdoms. And therefore they are. You are not in total control of your mind and therefore your thoughts. In fact, if you can ever recall fighting with your mind, the fact that you fought with your own mind says that you're not in total control of it. If you fight within yourself, within your own mind, that right there is showing you that you're not in total control of everything that's going on there. If you've had many wars, if you've wanted to make decisions and can't, these are instances of not being really in total control of your own mind. If you've had things come into your mind without understanding the origin, another instance of not really having total control of your mind and therefore your thoughts. There's many things that are at play, both in the spirit and in the physical, that make your mind the way that it is, and that do certain things within your mind, and that causes it so that you don't have total control of your mind. If you've wanted to stop thinking of certain things but haven't been able to stop, if you wanted to move forward in a certain way of thinking or viewing the world. But no matter how much you try, you don't. The world is not all composed of thought. Including with number one, which was all can be achieved through positive thinking. Tell that person who has the broken leg with half their leg hanging out their skin. Okay? Or everything is created by thoughts alone. Tell it to that person who is in severe pain. Or that you are in control of your mind, therefore your thoughts. Tell it to that person who is feeling anxiety, depressed, hurt, and pain in the mind, and random thoughts, so on and so forth. Lie number 4. You can change the way your mind works solely by positive thinking. If you're not in control of your mind, number 3, if you're not in total control of your mind, how is it that you can change the way your mind works solely by positive thinking? The truth is you can't change how your mind works solely by positive thinking. And people will say, well, if you positive think for long enough, okay, you can change the way your mind works. But if you're not in total control of your mind, how can you positive think for long enough? The truth is the brain, your mind, how it works, it's a very slow changing vehicle, so to speak. It's a very slow shift and change. So saying to someone, well, if you just change how your mind works for months and months and months and years on end, if you just control your mind for that amount of time, it'll change the way you think. And it'll change the way your mind works. Very few people have the power to do so. Very few people have the power to go ahead and make such shifts. Why? Because the mind isn't the only thing that makes up the world. There's a lot of other components. There's a lot of other pieces to the puzzle, which through proper spiritual teachings you would know. And you would be on the in, and your mind would have a change. But you cannot change the way your mind works only by thinking. There has to be more backing that up. And when I say spiritual teachings, that includes the rituals, that includes the healings that go on, that includes all aspects of the spiritual work. Okay? Without certain healings, without certain empowerments, connections, clearances, your mind is not in your total control, and you can't just solely decide to change how your mind works. You may have tried it before to try to change how your mind works, and like I said early on in the podcast, maybe some things may have changed. Or maybe you would have quit, given up, and said, hell with that, and moved on with your life. So there's many components and aspects that go into how your mind works. All of those aspects has to be addressed, including the spiritual. A lot of what's called spiritual these days is not spiritual at all. It's solely physical, or it's solely mental, or it's solely hitting one of those pieces But the truth is, holistic healing is about the whole person, and therefore treating all of the layers and levels that make up that person, all of the pieces, the whole being. And that includes spirit, that includes the essence of who you really are, and the essence of what creates what's created before you. The Great Spirit, God. When certain things have been, it's like any formula. When certain things have been removed from a formula, we can't expect the same result. Unfortunately, much is what is being touted and spurted around these days. There are many incomplete formulas. That's what you find all over the place. Is incompleteness after incompleteness after incompleteness, and then or people, meaning humans, are left wondering, why am I incomplete? What's missing? And there is things that are missing. And you're not wrong in feeling that. What's wrong? What's missing? What's not coming round forward, so on and so forth. Why am I not this or that? Or why is my life like this, and that? Why are things working for me this, that way? There are certain things that are great about technology and certain things that are not so great. Unfortunately, as we often say, is sometimes knowing a little is worse than not knowing at all. Because some individuals believe the little that they know is knowing a lot. And some individuals believe that the little that they know is all. And by doing so, what they perpetuate and what they promote is not healing. It's not progress. It's not unity. It's not peace. It's not joy. It's not happiness. It's not love. And people following are then not able to achieve peace, unity, happiness, joy, love, healing, oneness, success, the feeling of success, and of really being one with and fulfilling your purpose, plus having a great life. Plus, you have to have a great life, man. You can't have a great life and then expect that you're gonna just be peaceful on the mountain. You can't have a great life and think if you don't have a great life that certain things are your fault. Okay, certain things may be your fault because you have the power to make the changes or the choices to take the steps to make change. And that is in your hands. It is in your hands to find a proper spiritual teacher. Hey, we're here. Who can take you to joy, love, happiness, success, fulfillment. It's in your power. That is in your power to receive the right teachings and to fight to receive them. That means to have to, if that's what you got to do, you got to search, you got to find. If you're here, you found where we got it. But if you choose not to follow through and come here and then wonder why you hamster wheeling it up, why you turning in circles, not getting nowhere. Again, it was in your power. The power was there. It's for you to choose to take it up, make that decision and take the steps and be serious about it. Because happiness doesn't fall on your lap. Peace, joy, it don't fall in your lap. A lot of people think that it do. And for a tiny percent of the population, it do. But for the majority, it don't. So, for the majority, there are certain things that have to go into working together in order for that to happen. So that concludes this podcast. Okay? And just as a final reminder, got to remind you to subscribe to this podcast via Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Stitcher, or Spotify. Look us up, Papa Hector Salva. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Looking me up, Hungan Hector. And check us out at hectorsalva.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter and all other types of great stuff. So many blessings to you. God bless. Keep the faith.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.